Hi, I'm John Holliday, Senior Product Development Manager here at YKK, part of our global marketing group in the USA region. We're here again to do another tech talk, so featuring a few of our products that were recently promoted at the Functional Fabric Fair in Portland, Oregon. And with all of these three products, they're from our newer collection called the Revive series. And this is a collection of repair-focused products and components, and they're designed to keep our fasteners functioning and in use to maximize a product's life cycle. So with all of the components in this collection, we're really targeting some main goals here with first and foremost the fastener, or the zipper in this case, not being the reason a product is no longer in use or why it needs to be warranted or repair. Zippers, I think, as we're all pretty familiar with, you have them on your center front of your jacket, you have them on the main opening of your bag. If there's a problem with the slider or the elements or a specific component and it's no longer in use, more than likely that product is probably no longer usable. So we want to make sure we build a durable and quality product, but also be able to repair that product, again, to maximize that product life cycle. Another one is we want to make sure that we can facilitate a repair that can be done on a zipper in product. Traditionally, we supply our zippers in a cut zipper form, or maybe a chain and slider, and then supply them piecemeal and you assemble them to your product. But again, these revived series of components are designed to be implemented on that zipper that is already in product. And with that, we're working very closely with brands that have existing quality and repair centers in place, as well as third-party repair centers, to make sure that these repair processes are an improvement or simplification of what they're currently doing to resolve these issues. With that too, we want to make sure as much as possible that we can do this repair without the removal, like the significant modification, or most importantly, like the destruction of the current zipper, having to strip that out and fully replace a zipper. And then if at all possible, we want to be able to use minimalized tooling, or especially minimize the amount of specialized tooling that might be needed to perform these repair processes. For this Revive series, we are targeting this repair currently right now for more warranty and quality centers that might be already in place, even third-party repair centers, as I mentioned. Also, there's the potential to do this in-store or at your retail locations. And then as we expand these and build up our how-to videos and how to use this to the market, potentially even consumers being able to implement these repair processes if they have that confidence to do so. Also with this, I talked about how we traditionally sell zippers as a cut zipper, or in a assembled fashion. Most of these Revive components will be implemented and sold as a standalone component. And with that, we are having to look at our infrastructure on how we can sell these products kind of outside of our traditional means, and looking at how people who don't maybe have a current YKK contact or account can also order these zippers through either a distributor or another means that we're currently utilizing. So the first YKK Revived collection item I want to show is what we call a Revive Top Stop series. You see here that it's on our VT or Vislon AquaGuard zipper, but the Revive Top Stop is a component specifically designed to facilitate a simplified and easier removal or replacement of the slider on your center front open-end zippers. The design of this is pretty simple. We take really just the standard top stop shape, and we're just going to add a zigzag groove pattern through that, or a channel. And what this is going to allow is just for us to orient that slider through and to be able to derail and remove that slider from the center front zipper, to be able to either detrim it in the case of, say, like circularity or recycling, where you need to remove metal components, or in a repair setting to be able to replace that slider and bring it back on by reversing the steps to get that and repair the zipper. The design, as I talked about, is a zigzag channel. Part of that reason for that zigzag channel is to make sure we don't have any unintended removal of the slider. So you'll have to come in and kind of move around the top stop and orient that slider through that channel for it to be able to derail off. And the reason that we've developed this product is that the traditional way to repair the situation is, say you have a damaged pull tab, or say the pull tab is broken in half, or maybe it's missing from the slider, you have damage to the crown of the slider, or maybe the incomplete slider is missing. Usually when you do that repair, you would take that zipper and you would open it up, and then you would have to take some type of cutting tool, and traditionally you would remove that top stop component completely from the zipper. But this has been a very, I say, big step for us in the Revive series, and it is currently available. In the item code, we listed it as a special call out compared to our standard top stop, so make sure to your YKK contact to call that out. This is only available on standard open, as well as our movable and two-way open-end products, and we do have another component that we'll cover a little bit later that addresses more of this closed-in or chain and slider type pocket or accessory applications. This is compatible with all of our current size 5 Vislon sliders. That's auto locking, semi-auto lock, or free sliders. And we do plan to further expand this Revive Top Stop series to other zipper styles, especially in apparel such as number 5 reverse coil and also our number 5 Aqua Guard coil series that are also very popular. The only things to note on this is that the top stop itself, since it is a very similar shape to our standard, it does have equivalent strength to our standard top stop. But the really only limitation that we have in place is that we don't recommend this item for kids garments or kids products. And that is because since that slider is designed to be now repaired or removed, there is a risk that if this did come off, it is a choking hazard, of course. So for that case, we would not recommend it to be used on kids items. And then last and least is, this is one of those components that can be used pretty much on anywhere you're using center front open and zippers, but you need to spec this in from the design say. So when you first build out the garment, or if you were to do a full zipper replacement for the current repair, you could spec this in and then see the benefit of this simplified slider repair process down the road. So our second item that we'll go through from the Revive collection is our Revive replacement slider. And specifically, we have this commercialized for our number 3 reverse coil type zippers. And with this one, this is to facilitate a repair for when you have either a broken pull tab or completely missing or damaged slider from very specifically these closed in or chain and slider type applications that you might find, say on apparel with like your hand pockets, your chest pocket, or your ventilation zippers. So what we have here is we've designed a 2-component slider specifically for our Revive series that has a top portion and a bottom portion. The top portion has the pull tab, it has the fixed slider crown, and it has the upper portion of the slider body. And then there's this bottom portion here you see dangling. It is primarily those main sliding surfaces that are going to be used to open and close those elements very precisely for our reverse coil zippers for a size 3. This product is currently available, as I mentioned, for our specifically size 3 reverse coil zippers and our PU laminated and our Aqua Guard water repellent series. As I mentioned before, right now we just have the DF or the free slider, but we also are in development of a double pull version, what we call a DW slider, that should be ready a little later in this year. Some things to keep in mind is, we are building off this series for the Revive series, so we do plan to open this up to other sizes and variation and even product segments. Probably the first look here will be on apparel. So usually you have a size 5 center front, and traditionally you would step down to a size 3 for your pockets and accessories or ventilation, but in some cases there's size 5 being used as well. So we are very interested in developing a very similar type design specifically for size 5 reverse coil DF or free sliders to kind of expand that variation. And then as we get requests, we'll look at, again, building upon that and going out further to additional sizes and even chain types. The big things to keep in mind with this, or the notes or the limitations, I would say, is that you can see from the sample that we're showing, there's 2 different plating finishes here. And that's because the bottom component that has those primary sliding surfaces, it is limited to our C5 or silver type finish. And this is because we want to have a very consistent plating level thickness. So that way, when we snap this component in there, it always has a very consistent strength for our various slider assessment tests. Another thing to note is that since this is a 2-component design and not a single die-cast design like our standard or original slider that you would get on your zipper chain, it is weaker in some strength standards versus, again, that single one-piece die-cast component. So this is something you want to keep in mind when you're performing that repair and depending on the function or the product design. Another one is we do not recommend this product, as we did before, for kids applications. And this is for 2 main reasons. One is, again, this is a component that potentially could be released from the zipper chain. So if this was separated from the zipper chain, it would pose a choking hazard, of course. And the second point on that is currently the pull tabs that we have designed do not meet the tab twist standard that many brands follow when they're developing for kids related items. The last thing to note here is that we do have a couple of pull shapes developed for this. It's really more designed to loop through your own pull cord to customize it. We can do custom pull shapes. They are available, but we have a little bit tighter parameters on those designs. And that's because we need to be more aware of the various interlocking concerns we have, again, due to that 2-component design. So when we're manufacturing this and we go through the various processes of polishing and tumbling, there's just more risk for these smaller components to link together. So that's something that we need to keep in mind when we combine these with various pull tabs. So the last item we'll show today from our Revive collection is the Revive replacement puller, specifically for our number 8 racket coil series of zippers. With this one here, it's to facilitate a more simplified or straightforward process for replacing this pull tab. On RC type zippers, which are more used on bags and luggage, this is typically the most common type of failure that we experience. So we wanted to make a way to be able just to repair or replace that pull tab without having to come in and replace the entire zipper. Luggage and bags and equipment typically order their zippers in chain and slider format. So usually it's a quite long length of chain with either a slider or double sliders on there. And if you did have this failure where the pull tab is either broken, damaged, or missing, you would typically have to either replace that entire zipper in sliders or come into the end of that zipper and cut into and access it in some way to again replace it, or in the very most minimalist way, just attach some other external objects such as like a carabiner or something else to be able to have a pull tab to grab onto. So to make more of a straightforward repair, we've designed this special pull tab shape here. And if you notice, it has this L channel, and this L channel will allow that pull tab to interact with a corresponding slider body. But the L channel itself here is going to be on both the front and the back side of the pull tab. It's also going to have this small TPU injected component that you see here. On the front side, it's a little bit narrower than you have on the back side. And again, that's going to work with this slider body shape here with the crown. If you look very closely on the top side of that crown, there's a little bit of a narrower channel, as well as you see on the bottom a little bit wider. And the reason we have that is that when you orient this pull tab and you go to reattach it, it's going to make sure that either the repair center, the warranty location, or even potentially the consumer is installing that pull tab in the right orientation so that once it's back on the slider, it can then be operated properly or as intended. And as I mentioned, that current repair process and challenges, it's typically more of a destructive process. You're going to need to cut into the zipper or fully replace this quite long and costly zipper. Here, when you have this slider and puller spec'd into your product, it's a much more simplified, no special tools required, and non-destructive repairs. This product is currently available for our size 8 bracket coil front use zipper specifically. It can be developed for additional sizes, such as our size 5 or size 10 RC zippers. And we can also look at doing custom pull tab shapes. The thing to keep in mind is that, of course, the pull tab itself will need to have this L channel, as well as this small TPU injected component that you see on this sample. Outside of that, the customability of that is pretty open. So you can do a custom shape, you can add a logo, again, just keeping in mind this function or feature needed for the puller replacement. The only other downside that we have is that this is a product that will need to be spec'd in from the very beginning or the design point. So this is not something that you can use on maybe an existing RC zipper if it doesn't already have this function. So you will need to implement the slider and pull tab combination when you spec out that product. And then if you do encounter those pull tab damage or missing pulls later down the road, you'll be able to do this repair process. Lastly, this is limited right now to plating finishes, and that's just because the enamel are typically a little bit thicker finish, and we want to make sure we don't have too much resistance when we're releasing and reinstalling that pull tab or have any other concerns or effects with the enamel finish. That is all the 3 items that we have today. These are just the introduction of our Revive series and collection. We are looking at wanting to expand these. So if you have any interest in these 3 items that we showed today, please reach out to your YKK representative. You can also find more information on all 3 of these products at our digital showroom. If you do need samples of the individual components or them assembled to a slider for a particular need to trial these at your repair or warranty facility, please feel free to reach out to your YKK contact for sampling, and we'll do our best to accommodate. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you at the next Tech Talk.